Okay, so here it is, bet by bet, line by line, how pattern betting managed to survive the last horrendous sort of barrage of nasties that came, first of all, well, um, entirely from the blackjack sim on the Wizard of Odds website, which some people have been telling me or told me a few months ago that I was manipulating or somehow had access to or foreknowledge of what the next outcome was going to be. Anyway, enough of that. That's all kind of silly, isn't it? What I wanted to say very clearly before I got into this, which is just sort of like part two of the very last uh, demo that I put up, the last video that I put up, which is the actual play against blackjack and baccarat. But what I wanted to make absolutely clear is, I think for somebody just coming into this, seeing the channel for the first time, maybe, and certainly seeing the pattern betting strategy explained for the first time, the right approach, the oh
This is a reminder.
shit,
Drink
Alexa,
water.
shut up. I never seem to time these things right, and I'm not good enough at editing to be able to sort of like get everything out of the way. I mean, to cut it all out, I'll have to give it a go. But anyway, the right approach is skepticism, lack of acceptance, just basically doubt, because on the face of it, it's likely to seem, well, obviously this guy is manipulating. He's obviously changing things whenever he needs to. He's doing something weird in order to be able to create end results which go against the grain. They basically defy conventional wisdom. They turn everything upside down. They make a mockery of all of the bullshit. That was that was a biased word. All of the information that comes out of the casino industry about the beatability or not of their games. So as I'm saying, it's the intelligent approach, it's the logical approach, it's the sensible, pragmatic, grown-up, thinking man's, thinking person's, thinking woman's approach is to say, wait a minute. So all I can do is just give you the information, and you can make up your own mind. Now here what we've got is we've got pattern betting, betting at a fairly high level, from 25 to 12,800. And this is the algorithm. So I don't change this. I don't touch this at all. When I'm, I just put in the latest outcomes. I type them in because it's easy enough to do. Now that I've reduced them to dealer, player, dealer, whatever, and the N for a double for a lot, a double down loss, Y for a double down win. W, of course, is wash because I can't use P since I'm using that for player, and so on. So what we see here is we see a flat AV. This is in the whole data set, not the latest bit. I'll come to that in a moment. But overall, the house advantage throughout these 166 bets, that's the number up there, and this is the last line number, 19% for the house. Expectation based on multiplying total action by the house edge, random betting, it would have come out at about 30,000 up shit creek. As it is, I managed to, algae, managed plus 1,202 and minus 560, which is the whole point. Because, what pattern betting is all about, and you may have heard this explanation a million times before, but I never know who's clicking on what and who's seen what and who understands what. So I have to keep repeating myself. But the basic idea is that that over time you are going to lose more bets than you win. As here, 91 losses, 59 wins, which is unusually punishing, but that's how it can be sometimes. These games are volatile in spite of their relatively low house advantage, about minus 1.3% from the player's side at Baccarat, and less than minus 1%, probably somewhere around half of 1 to 3/4 of 1% for blackjack. In spite of that, there is high volatility, and you can see that here in the win-loss patterns chart. There's no doubt throughout this data set that the house ruled. The dealer was way ahead. But because of the way that pattern betting works, where you pull back under certain circumstances and you slam not extra dough, but sensible money into the fray when there's a possibility that things might go your way. And it is only ever a possibility. That's something I say a million times. It seems like a million times a day to me, but it's not. It's probably just 2 or 3 times a day. But anyway, the whole point is, you've got to get out of trouble. You've got to get out of the shit in fewer bets, fewer wins than the number of losses that it took you to get into trouble in the first place. That's the whole thing. That's what it's all about. And as I say, it's a concept which I think mathematicians understand and accept and would not argue with. But gambling is ruined by the people that I call mythomaticians. They're the ones who make up stuff almost as if they're on a path to the White House or something. I mean, they just give you all kinds of crap. They, for instance, will tell you that Double Down Madness is an improvement on blackjack, or they'll tell you that commission-free Baccarat is a step forward from regular old-fashioned traditional Baccarat, where you pay 5% of your winnings on a banker win. It's all crap, but people swallow it. They love it. They just suck it up. So anyway, we got this 214%. The average win over the average loss is 214%. So that is a good thing. Okay. 13 doubles, 2,900 winners, 1,800 didn't make very much. So doubles weren't particularly kind to us on this, but it was a very unkind data set, let's face it. So let's go down to the bottom. And this is where the true horror story lies, but it gets worse when I go to the online reality tab, which has a different set of bets. But here you can see basically what happens, where we just get into deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper nasties and doo-doo and filth, until finally we get 4 consecutive wins over on Baccarat. We had 3 consecutive losses, which cost us 6,800, and then we had 4 consecutive wins that put us back on track. Now, going down to online reality and going to the same place, we see a rather more dramatic situation. What we've got here is these very large bets. At one point, we were 110,000 in the hole and had to bet another 50. So that's a exposure of 160,000. But in the end, we came out very nicely, and we had a win of 15,413, which was just a 15% return on risk. The exposure here needs really to be a little bit higher, but it's really 160,000. But I think so that would reduce this to whatever, about below 10%, just about 10% actually, just fractionally, but still, it's a very, very good return. But I think one of the big problems that I've had to face for all the years that I've been doing this is that there is a tendency, not a tendency, it's an almost an obligation on the part of people who understand mathematics and work with it, especially people who work with it every day, To just sort of say, well, obviously it's ridiculous to pretend that you can beat negative expectations. So I'm not even going to bother to look at this. And they'll say, yeah, there is the martingale, which will win eventually, but usually you'll hit the table limit before you get the one win that you need to turn you around, and then you only win one, blah, 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 blah. So there's all that kind of stuff. And that's fair enough, but I would expect that the same mathematics professionals, the same educated people who understand numbers would take a look at this in an unbiased way and say, well, wait a minute, that really does actually make sense. So what we have here is that at the end of the horror story, we had 19 wins and 32 losses, so that the AV was, the house edge, the actual value was 26% or over 25% against the player. And we held 4.8% on total action. So we won 11,325. And here the action is seen to be 240, roughly 240,000. So, we held 4.8%, which is it's pretty bloody good, I reckon. But hey, maybe I'm biased. What are we looking at? The algae result adjusted to this kind of action would have been 35,000, but that doesn't really matter very much. I mean, it's just one of those things. The spread for real play was 25 to 50,000, which is 2,000 to 1. That's about what you need to be able to do. But when they talk about the martingale and they say, well, you'll hit the table limit and then you can't go any further. Well, of course, that's nonsense. I think any mathematician must understand that. Because all you do is you say, okay, I've hit the table limit. The next bet has to be so-and-so, so I have to go to another table. I have to go to another game. If necessary, I'll have to go to another casino. If necessary, I'll have to go to another city, another state, another country. Doesn't matter, But the martingale is a pain in the ass because you do only end up with a win equal to your original starting bet. If you play the martingale the way that the casinos tell you should. Obviously, when I test the martingale, I don't do that because I'm a renegade, right? I'm a maverick. I'm I don't know, whatever. So what I do is I keep boosting the martingale, so that the turnaround bet the turnaround win will deliver a profit which is far greater than the start out unit. And that essentially is what pattern betting is doing all the time, rounding up. So if you're in $25 units, then you go up in $25 increments. Once you get to $100, then you go up in $100 increments, then $500, then $1,000. You get the picture. So that's the name of that tune, as the murdering actor Robert Blake used to say on his show. Yeah, I met him several times, and he was always absolutely charming to me, and certainly didn't try to kill me. So that was something, I guess. Anyway, he's gone now, I think. Robert Blake, and his real name was Michael Gamboni or Gambaccini or Gamba something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, what a turn up that was, wasn't it? The bugger did steal some very nice sunglasses of mine, though. I had a lovely pair of Zeiss sunglasses, which got darker the brighter it was. They weren't prescription, but they had the sort of the photochromatic lenses. They were good in regular light, and then they just got darker. And they cost a lot of money. Anyway, the bastard stole them. I left them behind in his trailer and went back to get them. And he said, "No sunglasses here, mate. No, sorry. No." He always used to take the piss out of my English accent, so that was it. That's all he was doing. I said, no sunglasses here. And then he had this great big black guy who was like his bodyguard or whatever, and he said, "Do you see any sunglasses around here?" "No, sir." So anyway, I'd made a lot of money out of Blake, so I couldn't really complain. He certainly covered my sunglasses, and I think he knew that, and I think that's why he did what he did. And anyway, in the end, he turned out to be a murderer. Boy, I do digress a bit, don't I? I hope it's entertaining for somebody. It makes me smile, I tell you. I look back to those days in Hollywood and I think, fucking hell. How did I get through all of that? How did I get there in the first place? But I did have fun. Yeah. So, what I need to do is adjust this thing here so that it reads from, well, it doesn't matter because there's the other one down here, which shows you basically exactly what the end stages were. So this is for the whole nasty, which began with blackjack and then ended with very successfully with baccarat, and 1932. So I've been through that for you. This is just in blocks of 20, and they were seriously nasty, those blocks of 20 there. So end of story. All I can do with these things is, people who think that I talk too much, that I'm talking nonsense or whatever, they don't have to stick around. I don't have very many people watching these things, but it's an increasing number, and that's encouraging. I mean, I might even get into three figures at one point. And then I look at the shillionaire Vegas Matt, who pretends he's not promoting gambling. Oh boy, talk about delusion. But anyway, he's making a lot of money at the expense of his breathless fans. Not at their expense. That's not fair. He's exploiting them to make the money because he's certainly providing Google with an awful lot of clicks on those ads that plague us all on YouTube. And I'm not talking out of turn here because I have told Matt and his team many times that I think what they're doing is wrong and dangerous and irresponsible and nasty, and the only concession I have to make to them is that they do it very well. But that doesn't make them any better, does it? So, I'm done for now. See you later.